And good evening, everybody, and I will call the meeting of the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners for May 20th, 24 to order. I will ask Commissioner Stewart to do the pledge and the invocation.
If we could stand, please. Dear God, we thank you for this day, for this is the day that you have made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Thank you, God, for the opportunity to serve the citizens of Cumberland County. God, I pray for each and every citizen. I pray that the 7 elect here, God, will use wisdom and that we will seek your guidance in every decision to be made. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everybody to our meeting. We will go to our public comment period. Are there any speakers, Madam Clerk?
We have 4 speakers.
All righty. We call on the manager to read the public comment, and they will be on the screen, the procedures.
The public comment period shall last no longer than 15 minutes. Time may be extended at the discretion of the board. Each speaker will have a maximum of 3 minutes to make remarks until the 15-minute limit is attained. No time may be yielded to us by a speaker to another speaker. Speakers will be acknowledged by the board in the order in which their names appear upon the sign-up sheet. Speakers will address the board from the lectern and begin their remarks by stating their name and address. Public comment is not intended to require the board to answer any impromptu questions. Speakers will not discuss matters regarding the candidacy or any person seeking public office. Speakers will be courteous in their language and presentation. Personal attacks will not be tolerated. Written comments and/or supporting documents may be left with the clerk to the board.
Thank you. We have 4 speakers, so they will each have 3 minutes. Madam Clerk, if you call the first speaker.
Kay Ferguson.
Ms. Ferguson.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I hope everyone is doing well. I just wanted to start off by saying my name is Karen Ferguson, and I was born and raised in Canada. And in 1998, after I was married, my then husband and I resided here in North Carolina, and he was serving with the 82nd Airborne at Fort Bragg. My MOS was MOM, Mom. I've truly come to love and appreciate the great city of Fayetteville, North Carolina, and Cumberland County. It's what I call my southern home. Toronto is my northern home. Although all these years later, more than 2.5 decades, I'm still very confused. So many people being shot at, more car accidents than any one city should have, murders and thefts beyond comprehension. I continue to struggle all these decades later and question how could this be, as I know many others do question this. My long-term concern for many years has been our homeless people, our older adults, and of course our children of the community. I wish that we could do a better job being more loving, more kind, more compassionate, more caring. Some would say that it's just too far-fetched, right? To think that we could have peace in our community, in our city, in our county, on our streets. I truly believe that the naysayers are wrong. Yes, you are absolutely incorrect. The facts of the reality are that peace can be attained, one heart, one body, and one mind at a time. Then the household and the workplace is affected. Then the street where the house is, where the workplace is. Then the community, the city, the county, the state, the country, the continent, and before too long, 7 continents of the world. There is greater and more inner peace. So I'm not here with answers. I'm not here with solutions. I'm here with questions. The most important question that I have this evening is, when will the city of Fayetteville and the county of Cumberland come together, not just our political leaders, but when will our people come together as one to say no to all the violence, to say no to the corruption?
Thank you. Thank you.
Peace.
Thank you.
Peace.
Yes,
peace.
ma'am. Our next speaker.
Sam McKinney.
Hello, I'm Sam McKinney, 114 Richfield Street, out here in Fayetteville. I'm coming real quick today on behalf of Dr. Hassan, and I wanted to say 1429 MacArthur Road, they're supposed to be rezoning that area. And I've been a business owner here now 9 years. I own Global Outreach Telerehabilitation Services right here at the end of Robeson Street and Rayford Road. And what Dr. Hassan has done for me, she has helped me offer more services to our community. Being the peer support trainer for the state has allowed me to open some more doors where I can help my community locally, help the youth, veterans, and other people who need counseling and therapy in this area. So today I wanted to speak real quick on what she has done and what she is doing in this community at 1429 MacArthur Road. She has a place over there where she can do several businesses in this community that has helped. The most efficient one is her peer support counseling that she has been doing recently with a lot of people across the state. Dr. Hassan goes from Charlotte to Fayetteville to Lumberton, and she wrote the whole state manual on peer support, being a peer support specialist. So I just wanted to say that if we can think or find a way that 1429 MacArthur Road doesn't have to be rezoned, and she can actually do the work, the good work that she's been doing there for a while now, to continue to do that with children, with adults, people who are on drugs, who have gotten off of drugs through her training and stuff. If we are able to support her in this, I think you're going to see a better community, better people, and better business here in our local area. So I want to thank you for allowing me to come up here and speak for her, because she is a great person and she does a great job at putting on this peer support training. I wish you can see it. I got joy from being able to be in her class, and that's why I'm here tonight representing her. And thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Our next speaker.
Sarah Garrett.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Garrett.
Good evening.
My address is 650 Pleasant Loop, Fayetteville, North Carolina. And I'm here to speak on behalf of Dr. Hassan as well. I was one of the students in her course just about a month ago now. And what I know about her is that she goes by the rules. She already has her own business and daycare right near that same building she wants to do the special use permit for her trainings. And she's been in daycare for 42 years. She's been a trainer for 20. And she's been doing peer support all throughout the state, just as he mentioned. And I do think that if you guys can grant her a special use permit, that she will abide by the rules and she will treat it just like she has treated her daycare, which is with all the rules being met, and that she'll do some really great work in our community. Just as Kay had talked about earlier, that we need a lot of help, and Dr. Hassan is making that help in our community happen with her training and her business. So I hope that you'll consider that special permit. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker?
Shaleko Hurst.
Could you repeat that name again, please?
He come every week. Taliko Hurst. H-U-R-S-T.
Oh, okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, commissioners and the public. Let's approach a few subjects. First, I'd like to broach the subject of emergency temp housing, if not permanent, for those, if the county will look into using the individuals who service the habitat housing, because we can't afford to wait a year for a facility to be up and running for those who have drug issues and those who need emergency housing. We can't afford even to wait 6 months. So whoever is responsible for granting the contracts for Habitat for Humanity in Cumberland County, please, ask the county commissioners to get in touch with them, because they build housing within 2-3 weeks. It'll be done. Also, I'd like to address the issue, I brought it up with the sheriff, and it's right that prisoners have access to the kiosks so they can vote for the upcoming election if they have yet to be convicted of any crime. This election, we're going to need every vote, whether individuals are free or being detained. Thirdly, AI is already here in some of the facilities here in Cumberland County, and anyone who knows, who follows the data of economics, know that this country technically is in a recession. The price of goods are up, the price of services up, the price of housing is up, and it does not look like the present administration or any administration is going to sit out any other stimulus funding for everyday citizens. Also, North Carolina presently has right at 3% unionized jobs. If you look at the data for that, that means these workers, with the advent of AI, they have no protection. And recession in full bloom, these workers deserve to be protected. So I'm asking not only the city, but the county commissioners, any new businesses that start up that has more than 20 employees, make sure these employees have and receive a living wage. Next, I would like to bring out speak on the Juvenile Detention Center, because we have 715 churches registered in Cumberland County, 715. And if you follow case law, civil litigation, the uprise of crimes against the juveniles by staff or within is on the uprise. Out of 715 churches, with the amount of minorities that are presently housed in detention centers.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
There are no more speakers.
All righty, that will close our public comment period. That will take us to our agenda. Mr. Manager, are there any items for the agenda?
Yes, there's one item we need to add to for our item of business. Based on the Crown Event Center Committee meeting today, want to add a proposed pre-qualification process for all Tier 1 subcontractors for the Cumberland County Crown Event Center as item 4A.
All right. With that, I would move for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
That is unanimous. That will take us to the consent agenda. Anything on the consent agenda, Mr. Manager? I'm going to come to you as soon as I finish with the matter.
No.
Okay. Commissioners?
Yes, can we pull item 2A for a special presentation?
Well, we're going to vote on it first, and then we got the presentation right after that. so we can make it official as to the proclamation.
Okay.
That okay?
Yeah.
All righty,
I
thank
got
you. All right, with that, nothing else, I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All those in favor?
Unanimous?
All right, and for you all who don't have the agenda, 2A, which is what Commissioner Keith, and he's coming down, is a proclamation recognizing Colonel John Wilcox, Fort Liberty Garrison Commander, and we'd ask him to come to the podium. Colonel Wilcox and Commissioner Keith, I asked him to present this, having served in the military, and he understands that. And then we're going to have a little laugh, I think, when we talk about VMI and the Citadel. Commissioner Keith. Commissioner Keith.
Today, it is my pleasure. When I found out that Colonel Wilcox was going to be leaving, I asked if I could be part of this because we share a little bit of the same history. I don't know if you remember this. But when I was in, I served with a fellow named John Wilcox. And I said, now, God knows, this can't be his son or anything. I'm not that old. But he told me, he said, no, I know the name. He was a general. I keep getting his emails, so we're in good shape. But you'll be getting those general emails soon, I hope. So, on behalf of all the county commissioners and all 300,000+ of us that are here, you know, we all embrace, you know, Fort Bragg and Fort Liberty. Some of us were stationed at Fort Bragg, and I don't have to ask around here if I ask anybody who's been in the service or as a family member or is affiliated with it, that the hands would go up. And that's what makes Fort Liberty now so special to us. What makes it even more special is when we have an installation commander. If you don't know what an installation commander is, he's a mayor that doesn't get voted on because of all the problems, but he takes care of everything. And to Colonel Wilcox, he has probably had, when they took this job, he probably didn't say, oh, by the way, we're going to change your name right in the middle of your term. So it's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. Nobody's going to have a problem with it. But he handled it with grace and professionalism and everything. And we're all still very proud of Fort Liberty for what it is. So now, for those of you who know the Montagues and the Capulets, the Sharks and the Jets, the Hatfields and the McCoys, in the military world, there's the Citadel and VMI. Every year we have this big, football game, Silver Shaker, yeah. But they all put out, we all like to think we put out great officers. Sometimes the Citadel puts out better. I'll give him his time here. But Colonel Wilcox has been all over the world. He started out as an MP, and then he went over and saw the side of it, going into the civil affairs. And if you don't know what civil affairs is, their symbol is the pipe hawk. Right? Right? Yep. So if anybody doesn't know what a pipe hawk is, it's a tomahawk with pipe in it. Okay? So the whole idea is, hey, we're coming in peace, and we want to share the pipe, and if you don't agree with us, then we have it. Tomahawk. It's a very important part of civil affairs, a very important part of what we do throughout the world. And we win the hearts and minds, we build cities, and we build communities to make it better. So I have talked a long time. I have a proclamation that I'm going to read to you. And I can tell you that I've seen a lot of installation commanders, and I appreciate the outreach that you've had to our community. It means a lot to us. So I'll read this proclamation. Whereas Colonel John Wilcox is the current Fort Liberty, North Carolina Garrison Commander. And Colonel Wilcox started his military career at the Virginia Military Institute and earned his commission in the Military Police Corps in 1999. Whereas during his career, Colonel Wilcox has served in numerous leadership roles to include platoon leader, special reaction team leader, company commander, an Iraqi 1st Mechanized National Police Transition Team Military Police Advisor Operation for Iraqi Freedom. Colonel Wilcox has deployed twice to the Philippines in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. Philippines, where he synchronized and integrated civil affairs operations throughout the Mindanao region and to Afghanistan as part of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization Special Operations Command. Colonel Wilcox holds a master's degree from the Naval Postgraduate School and the Army War College. Colonel Wilcox awards and decoration include the Bronze Star Medal, First Oak Leaf Cluster, Meritorious Service Medal, the Army Meritorious Service Medal, 5 Oak Leaf Clusters, Joint Service Commendation Medal, Army Commendation Medal, 1 Oak Leaf Cluster, the Army Achievement Medal. Colonel Wilcox has earned his Combat Action Badge and the Master Parachutist Badge. We're getting to the end. Okay? During his tenure as Fort Liberty Garrison Commander, Colonel Wilcox facilitated stakeholder discussions that led to the recommendation of Fort Liberty as the new name of Fort Bragg, and diligently worked to inform the community on the name selection. Colonel Wilcox has strengthened the communication and cooperation with the community and Fort Liberty. The Cumberland County Board of Commissioners respects and honors Colonel Wilcox's military service and appreciates his continued partnership. And therefore, the Cumberland County Commissioners do hereby express our sincere appreciation and recognize Colonel John Wilcox for his unwavering service and his dedication to our community and our country. Thank you for making the sacrifice for your country and ensure the freedom and liberties we enjoy as Americans. So, thank you very much. Before I let you go,
Jimmy,
good?
Jimmy, he hadn't taken a picture yet. And he can go with his wife up here to take a picture too, so. Slow down.
Just like we rehearsed.
Just like we're Come on then.
His wife.
And because we all know, as the lady said earlier, that sometimes the most important MOS is the mom, is the spouse. That does everything on behalf of the county commission. We'd like to present you with these. And thank you for putting up with us.
The bag too. That's for the colonel. There you go. Not that one. Is it both of them?
They're both.
Both of them. There you go.
Hey, Chairman, I got this. Colonel, have a few words.
Keep that up here.
To the entire board, especially Chairman Adams, and even those who went to the second best senior military college in the country, it has been an absolute honor to serve alongside all of you, and to represent Fort Liberty, 51,000 service members that serve very proudly on our installation every single day, about 150,000 family members that come with them, and of course, all of the GS civilians and enablers and everybody else that comes to make Fort Liberty work on a daily basis. I have the honor of representing all of them on a daily basis, and so on behalf of them, I extend my sincere thanks to the entire county for the constant support that is always present, always available to us, and it does us amazing good to have the type of relationship that we have. So thanks for allowing me to represent this vast organization, the largest in the military, and I appreciate it. And from Nellie and I, who by far is the more better looking and more talented part of the duo, it has been such a fabulous experience to live here again for as many years as we have. I am taking off. We're going down to Tampa for a little bit to go serve down there, but I am quite certain that we will be back, and we look very much forward to that day. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you can open them, you can see what, if you want to, you can open those up. All right.
County's flag.
This is a stress ball.
I thought he might need that on his way out.
Okay? That's good. So when you relax at your next station, you can have a cup of coffee.
I promise you, this will never be filled up with anything but water.
Colonel, thank you very much.
And we can open the box. Yeah, we got the box too. There's something in the box too.
Oh, this is, well, thank you very much.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
There you go. It's a small token of our appreciation.
I will have it on my desk and, all right, thank you very much. Thank you.
Now they thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And I will tell you that, just for your lead, Colonel, that, I've been chair of this board a number of times, but I will tell you that as to the garrison commander, the relationship that we had was probably closer than any other the garrison commanders before you that I sat in this chair. And that's a testament to what you wanted to bring to this community, not just to Cumberland County. The Mayor Colvin's been in the room. We've all been in the room. And so I just want to say, from my behalf and the behalf of this board, Godspeed to you. We know that we will meet again because everybody comes back through Fort Liberty at some point. You'll probably be wearing 2 or 3 of those stars when you come back. So we look forward to you coming back. And thank you so much for lending him to us for all, as he leaves and comes, you're there. And thank you so very much. And we appreciate you. Thank you. That will take us to our public hearing. I'll call on the county manager to read the public hearing, and it should be on the screen.
Yeah, the public hearing procedures, arguments by the proponents and opponents should be limited to a maximum of 10 minutes per each side. If no group representative, each speaker shall be allotted a maximum of 3 minutes until the 10-minute time limit is attained. Rebuttals will only be permitted at the discretion of the chairman with a maximum of 1 3-minute presentation by each side.
I'll call on Mr. Van Giens.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's, I do.
We need to pull for the presentation. There we go.
Thank you. Exciting evening to be here with you. I would just want to echo all those wonderful sentiments about Colonel Wilcox doing an incredible job, great partner at every level for all that we've been trying to do as a community. So tonight, it's my pleasure to bring to you a matter called Project Arrow. This has been discussed previously when the Industrial Pollution and Facilities Control Commission sent forward their bond resolution for that project. Important to note, we are one site in one of the states that the company is looking at. This is a competitive project, but we have maintained and stayed in the hunt. This project would be an integrated titanium mill, and it'd be purpose-built for titanium processing. Phase 1 of the project would create 300 jobs with an average salary of $120,000 a year. If I'm not mistaken, the lowest paid salary is $85,000 a year. So this is a very narrow band of jobs, and it would be almost $900 million of investment in the first phase. Second phase would add 100 to 150 more jobs and take total investment over $1 billion. I think you've all seen the use of titanium, everything from inside people's joints to in aviation and many other applications. It's one of the 35 mineral commodities that are vital to the U.S. economy, as deemed by the U.S. national government. The proposed site is off of Bethune Drive. This is in close proximity. You can see on the map the Goodyear plant the property of Dr. Clark that is here today, should you have any questions. And then you can see that property there is a rail line that cuts through the middle, and then in the distance, about 3/4 of a mile away, is the Cape Fear River. The property is currently zoned industrial, and it is in your land use plan as an industrial area. I think that when you see a project of this level of investment, and you see a project of this level of excitement, it's important to share a little bit about what makes that project up. Titanium production, in this case, is incredibly clean. I've personally been as close, or not quite as close, because it is hot, but that is the only thing as far as breathing fumes or anything along those lines to its actual production. 75% or so of this titanium will come from when other parts are made. Much like if you took a gold bar and made a bracelet, you would keep the pieces, you'd melt them again and recast them for additional jewelry. It is the same principle applied to titanium. It is 100% recyclable. What isn't used in a part comes back into the facility to be mixed with new titanium and then put forward. It would be a minor air permit facility. You'll find that you've got roughly 8 or so of those already in the community, everything from healthcare facilities to other smaller operation. This is not the highest level. There's one above that as well. But again, a minor air permit here for the process. Process cooling water is the only output that would be coming from the facility, and we are going to, with your, if we're selected, extend sewer to the property, and it'll be going into PWC's sewer system. So nothing will be discharged on site. And importantly, we have many concerns about the Cape Fear River. This is 3/4 of a mile from the river itself, well upstream. And we are pursuing grants to extend water and sewer infrastructure and to add signalization on Bethune Drive along 401 North, as well as widening Bethune Road Drive and adding turn lanes. It's about 12 trucks a day in and out would be the process, the truck traffic, in addition to the employees. So we are requesting you to, from you to consider a very aggressive incentive. We benchmarked this proposal against what we'd call other mega projects. The chairman and I today were up in Randolph County in the shadow of Toyota's multi-billion-dollar battery plant along what we hope will be the I-685 that runs here to Fayetteville. We've seen projects in Chatham County with Wolfspeed and VinFast, and we looked at all of those to be aggressive, to set the tone of who we want to be as a community when competing for projects, but not to overshoot what others have done. These are all performance-based incentives. It's important for the public to understand the company must make the investment. They must pay their taxes. They must create the qualifying number of jobs, and only then will they receive a grant back that would be less than the taxes that they have paid in that given year. And you can see as it lays out before you. We're also asking the city and the county to contribute towards sewer and water infrastructure, should we not be able to secure enough grants to cover all of that, and then also to purchase and provide 120 acres of property to the company. If successful, you would receive roughly $1.5 million a year in new tax revenue, $30 million over the 20-year incentive agreement. But I think importantly for us is what it means to the community, having this unique and important operation here, what it can mean for suppliers and customers of that supply chain, and $36 million a year in wages the first year of that full operation, is $720 million of wages paid over the 20-year life of the project. And so with that, happy to answer questions. After the public hearing is held, should you deem fit, we'd ask that you, we request that you approve the incentive offer to the company so they may consider it. This would be subject to a formal agreement and additional actions required and public hearings required to purchase property and to provide it. That you would authorize staff to execute grant applications for state incentives, workforce training grants, and other incentives, and authorize staff to make applications for grants that would be needed to extend utilities and make road improvements that, if awarded, would then come back to you for your final review and approval. With that, happy to answer any questions you may have.
Anybody have any questions? I will, Mr. Keefe.
Yeah, can you bring the
Sorry.
PowerPoint back up, Mr. Van Haynes? You talked about minor air quality, and who is the qualifier on that? How does that?
That is the State Department of, I call them DENR still, but yeah, DENR, Department of Environmental and Natural Resources, Division of Air Quality.
Okay.
And then they also have to comply with federal guidelines.
Okay, so, and this would be considered minor?
Yes.
There are other plants in Cumberland County now at that level?
There's other facilities, there's healthcare providers, anything that has a level of process that has any air emissions, often, once it reaches a certain threshold, needs at least a minor permit.
Does anything in Cumberland County have anything higher than that?
Yes, you have 8 facilities that are what they call a Title V air permit, and those are your more intense and substantial operations that are either heavy into manufacturing or production of things that have a higher volume of air, I guess you'd say, air processes.
So would it be fair to say that the state of North Carolina, does not believe this to be a air quality issue?
This is a process that it can easily comply with the existing regulations, and we have similar facilities already operating in similar processes here in North Carolina at different levels.
Any other questions? I will tell you that for this board, that I have heard from the community. The community has called and emailed me, talked to me about the environmental impact, and the last, I don't know how many years we've been dealing with Comores. So it is up front with this board in terms of all the environmental stuff. We had detailed conversations with the company as to environmental. I've probably learned more about titanium than I ever knew. And I'll tell you that some of the citizens in Cumberland County, especially those scientists that are out there, called me and told me where it was on the chart. I'm a lawyer, that's why I wasn't a scientist, because I couldn't do that, the chart with all of the minerals on it, but how lightweight it was, huh? What'd you say?
I don't think it was on the chart yet.
Oh, maybe that's why I didn't remember it. But we did talk to the company. We have talked to and asked our economic development, and that's why he could answer those questions about Diener and all of that. We are clearly in line with that. You did hear one of our speakers today, and I think when I first got on this board, and I think when we all get on this board, we always talk about bringing jobs to Cumberland County, and that was what I did when I first got on here. And I was like, if it's a job, bring it on. But I would tell you, Commissioner Fairclough has always made sure that we always ask the question about what the median salary is. If everybody at the top is making $1 million and the workers at the bottom aren't making anything, I remember that the whole time.
Still a good
and so,
average.
and still asking that question. And so even as our speaker today was talking about the wages, we are, we make sure that we ask those questions, because it doesn't do any good to bring jobs here and people still are not having a living wage. So that is important to this board. I think if you look at the jobs that are going to be created, we did ask on that 125, is that, where did that fall in terms of whether it was just some of the top people and some of the bottom people? We reassured on that. But then we went and asked one further question, is actually, a lot of companies come in and they bring their own people, and that doesn't do any good for us, even though some of them might live here. A lot of them sometimes live out of county. They've assured us that the bulk of, I think what they say, Robert, they're going to bring some in who, when they do the initial plan opening, but the majority of these, 95% of these employees will be employees from Cumberland County, or at least the surrounding areas. It's whatever our base is. And I think that we've seen Colonel Wilcox that was here today. One of the things is Fort Liberty and the number of soldiers coming out of the military, and we try to keep some of them here. And I think that's another reason that this company is looking at us, because of the workforce. I will have to say thank you to Fayetteville Tech for what they do to make sure that our workforce is with that. If there's no other questions, I will open the public hearing. You can hit that. Thank you. They put it over there in front of you. I guess you're the new chair over there. I don't know what that is. Are there any speakers?
We have one speaker.
Uh,
She's speaking in opposition.
Yes.
Ms. Rachel Seppi.
All right.
Cepis.
Stevens, all right.
Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
I'm speaking in the middle. Mostly because we don't have enough information as residents up to this point to know what it is that we're getting. So I live on 731 Slocum Road, which is within a 10-mile radius of the plant. And my neighbors and I, we have a small community. We kind of saw this come out in the news, and that was the first time of us ever hearing about it. And it will directly impact where we live. So some of the things that we have concerns about are specifically environmental based. My well water is contaminated from Chemours. They said it would never reach as far as it did, and we're upstream, but it is contaminated, and I have reverse osmosis systems. They don't cover all of my property, just my drinking water, and we were told deal with the rest when it comes to your agriculture and your animals. So my concerns with big companies is they don't know me, they're not part of my community, they don't have my best interest in mind. So when something happens and there's a spill or there's an accident, we then, the residents that live there, are left to deal with the outcome of that and, hey, deal with polluting your agriculture stuff that then you put in your body. So that's one of the concerns. The other thing, primarily outside of that is just understanding the SWOT analysis that was done on this. We talk about the strengths, we talk about the opportunities, but no one has addressed the weaknesses or the threats for us in our community. And if you're going to make an educated decision for us as residents, I would like transparency on what those threats and those weaknesses are that are going to be around my community and for my children. So I have an idea to make a holistic solution on, am I going to support this? Am I not going to support this? That information has not been provided to us as residents. We don't know what that is, so we can't decide if we're for or against it. Everything paints a very rosy picture, and I'm not a pessimist, but not everything is perfect, so there has to be some negatives to this. And as a resident living within that 10-mile radius, I would like to know what those are, because I have to deal with them then every single day because I live over there. The other thing that, we have concerns about is just the environment of moving wildlife. We have a lot of nature out there. It is agricultural based. Continuing to bring big things out there disrupts the natural ecosystem out there. And then lastly, I have tons of questions, but lastly, what does this do to our taxes? If you increase the income, we are a very small community out there, and there is not, people making $200,000, $300,000 right there. What is that going to do to all of us that currently don't make that rate, to our taxes, to the cost of living out there when we already live there as residents? So those are some of the concerns, not myself, my neighbors. Other people's are, I'm in the middle because I just don't have enough information to make an educated decision on if I support or I'm against it, but I really would like help in understanding that stuff so we as residents can make a decision or can be supportive or help you understand what it's like for us out there as residents. So thank you for your time, and I very much appreciate you listening to me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. There are no other speakers?
There are no other speakers.
If there are no other speakers, I'll close the public hearing. And I will tell some, and especially you came up and spoke, so I'll talk to you as much as anybody else. It is difficult when you are, and it's always when they tell you trust the government, you kind of worry about trusting the government. But when these companies are, and they haven't chosen us. They're vying, we're just vying for them with, they're still looking at a couple of other states and a couple of other places. And probably as much information has gotten out on this economic development as ever gotten out because these companies don't want that to know. So we have to do, and that's why we got this economic development guy who's sitting right here, to be able to do those, what you're asking, those questions. That's why I talked about the environmental, because we did do some extra research on that. As to the tax base, your taxes, hopefully, we got Commissioner Fairclough here. He doesn't believe in raising taxes, so we got him here and Commissioner Cleese. But, so you can take that one down. Oh, yeah, look, we've done that for a number of years. But we believe that, at least I do, I don't know how, I guess they're going to vote, because all I got is me. Is that this is a benefit to this community. For all of us, Chemours was there before any of us came, and we've been dealing with that, and we've been fighting that and suing them and doing a bunch of other stuff. But we've taken a proactive as to that in terms of water. Don't understand why, if you're out on Slocum Road, why you're not with our water system that we got out there. You might want to talk to my engineer back there. Yeah, Amanda's back there, so you can get out of that well and come to, we do have water out there at least, though. because Mr. Fleming, Marshall, and Commissioner Fairclough and Commissioner Keith will remember Mr. Fleming, who lived right on Slocum Road and did battle with this board way before me to get water out there on Slocum Road. And so once the company actually figure out who they're going to choose, be a lot more information that you will be able to have. I do see, I do have my Dr. Sorrells here. Is that Dr. Sorrells back here in the back with Fayetteville Tech, who will be dealing with the company? Also, I think I saw Dr. Clark, who owns that property, and has been real, thank you for being able to help us be able to be competitive in this arena. If no one else has any questions, I will take a motion to approve the resolution of this Board of Commissioners approving the grant of economic development initiatives to American Titanium Metal LLC.
And Mr. Chairman, for the record, since we didn't go into details, as set forth in the agenda memorandum
Yes.
and as advertised in the Fayetteville Observer, May 10th, and with the understanding that the transfer, the purchase, acquisition, and transfer of the 120 acres is your intent at this time, that will
Right.
require further action.
All right, that's it. That's in this resolution. It's with the intent to do it.
And if we could just, if it's all right, to authorize staff to pursue grants as appropriate.
That would be the motion. If I can get the motion, that, is there a second? Second. It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Unanimous?
All right. Thank you so very much. Thank you all. That will take us to our rezoning cases. Mr. Manager, if you will read our comment period as to zoning cases.
Yes, arguments by the proponents and opponents should be limited to a maximum of 10 minutes per each side. If there's no group representative, each speaker will be allotted a maximum of 3 minutes until the 10-minute time period is attained. Rebuttals will only be permitted at the discretion of the chairman with a maximum of 1 3-minute presentation by each side. Tonight we have 4 rezoning cases. Rawls Howard, Director of Zoning and Inspections, will present these items and answer any questions that you may have.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Pleasure to be here this
This will
evening.
be case 240009.
Yes, sir, that is correct. So as you can see by the map that's highlighted up on the screen, this case is out in the Bethany area, which is more or less the east central area of the county. The applicant owner is Christopher Muscarella. The request is to go from A1 to R40 residential for the intent of adding an additional dwelling unit on his currently existing property for a little under 2 acres. It's 1.8 acres. You can see the property here's South River School Road. It sits at the corner just a little bit above Collier Road at that intersection. You can see, but the highlighted, let's see if I can get the pointer to move over here. I can't get it, but you can see by the highlighted hatched property where this is located. You may recall we had the rezoning of that R40 property about just a little over a year ago. So this is just following up. I guess the neighbors is coming out to get a similar type of use on the property.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Why is it not all the way down?
Why is it not all the way down?
Yes, it just, the triangle.
That's a
so-
separate piece of property.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, so you can see that we have some single-family residential that's pretty much around it, but largely a lot of it is going to be farming and agriculture. Pretty much surrounded by A1 agricultural zoning, with that R40 sitting right there, right next to it. We included this picture so you can get a little bit of a zoomed in. As I said before, Commissioner, let's see if I can get the. Doesn't show over here, but you can see it's a separate parcel of land. Maybe I can do it this way.
I see it.
Yeah, so you can see a separate parcel of land, but this is the property in question right now, and this is the property that was zoned R40 back about like a year ago. So there's a water line that is out here, but there's no sewer. There's no real hydric or hydric inclusion soils on the property, so it's got good soils. The Bethany Land Use Plan calls for this to be rural, so associated zoning districts are A1, A1A. We do allow R40 and R40A with some stipulations about quote-unquote higher development standards. So the applicant can't subdivide the property, so we're not splitting the property up. It will be a group development, which just allows the
owner to put a second unit on there. So the property would not be subdivided, so you would have shared driveways and things like that associated with the unit. So as staff, we felt that was a higher development standard as compared to if somebody had to go and split the property and create two separate driveways and go through all of that sort of processing. So we felt it was plan compliant in that regard. This is the property that's in question. You can see mainly just wooded area. There's a house that sits, this is the primary house where the secondary home will be sitting on the property or off to the side of this. This is the south view on South River School Road with the property immediately on the left-hand side. Of course, you can see the sign on the road per state statute requirements for advertising and public notification. This is looking across the road at the west view for South River School Road. And this is the north view of South River School Road with the subject site immediately on the right-hand side. Staff does recommend approval of the request. When we took this to the planning board last month, they also supported that recommendation by a 10-0 vote. So I'll try to answer any questions if you have.
All right. Anybody got any questions or wrongs? If not, I will open the public hearing. Are there any speakers?
There are no speakers.
I will close the public hearing, and if I can get a motion.
In zoning case 24009, I move to approve the rezoning request from A1 Agricultural District to R40A Residential District and find that the request is consistent with the Bethany Area Land Use Plan, which calls for rural at this location. The request is reasonable and in the public's interest as it is compatible to and in harmony with the surrounding land use activities and zoning.
I can get a second.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
All right, thank you. That will take us to zoning case 2410, 0010.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. So as you stated, this is case ZON 240010. This is, as you can see, just north of Fayetteville, between Spring Lake and Fayetteville. You can see as is highlighted with the star on the map. The applicant owner is Annie R. Hassan and Khalil Ahmed Hassan Sr. The request is to go from R6A residential to ONIP, planned office and institutional. The intent, or at least what it was expressed to staff, is for training services or a professional development center to be located on the property. Just so you know where this is, as I said, this is the city of Fayetteville city limit line. You can see here, I'll just go on this one. It's largely surrounded by R6. I'll get into the coloration of the map here in just a minute. But for the most part, it sits just outside of Fort Liberty, just on the other side of Fayetteville city limit lines. But it's in a pretty developed residential area. So again, as I stated, here's the subject property. It's largely surrounded by a bunch of single-family homes. There is a mobile home park that's right across the street. The colorations that you see in the with the colors here is there is a substation that's owned by Carolina Power and Carolina Telephone. I didn't think that it really existed anymore, but apparently Carolina Telephone is still around. So
Where they moved to, they became all the rest of them.
yeah. So according to the tax records, that's still owned by the telephone company, and then there's a daycare that I believe is owned by the applicant just south of there. Again,
Hold a minute, you got a question.
Can you go back?
Yes.
So you've got it in blue. It's not institutional now, is it? Or is that a?
No, like the daycare would be the institutional, like we don't have a coloration on the map for it.
Okay,
It's more of
so
an industrial type of
There is an
classification.
institutional right beside?
Yes, there's a daycare.
Her daycare.
And-
She owns the daycare.
Okay, there was some dialogue in the minutes about where they hadn't found that it was, she said she'd been operating for like 5 years, but they couldn't find any record of it being zoned institutional.
Well, there was no zoning. We did go back into the records afterwards to start, searching, but there was a special use permit that was issued around the 2012, 2014 time period. But that was handled by the Board of Adjustment. They're the ones that issue special use permits for those uses.
Okay, so there is O&I in the neighborhood now.
No, sir. So again, so a daycare is allowed by special use permit in a residential zoned area. It's deemed to be supportive of residential uses.
But you had it in blue.
That's just a coloration we use just to distinguish it away from like a lot of the residential stuff for the purposes of just identifying existing land uses that
But
are
you're
out there.
calling it institutional on the blue.
That's how we break it up with the future land use designations and so forth.
Okay,
So it's a special use permit for that piece of property?
Yes, yeah, but the zoning itself, like, this is the zoning map. It's, all of this is R6 out here, so this is all the zoning out here. So, for example, the existing site and the daycare to the south is R6, but by our zoning ordinance, you can apply for a special use permit in any of our residential zones to put a daycare out there, and that's what they did back in 2012-ish, 14-ish time period.
What's the
And
C1P? What is that?
the C1P is a substation, actually.
It's
It's some sort of a utility station that we had identified. Yeah, is it the city of Fayetteville? Yeah.
Okay.
all right, thank you.
On my property? What's the job do?
So there are some utilities that are identified out here. There's a water line that sits out here. There are no hydric soils or hydric inclusion soils that are located on the property. When we started looking at this against the future land use map, it does sit in the North Fayetteville Land Use Plan, which was adopted in 2002, and it does identify all of this area basically as being a residential designation for future land use. Any of the non-residential stuff that was identified, the plan contemplates trying to locate it around the intersection of the major interstate or highway that's over here where you see the activity node. So just to go in a little bit of explanation of what staff was looking at as a part of the request and what went into our staff's recommendation of denial was the fact that this use sits mid-block. It's surrounded by a bunch of residential uses. Yes, there's a daycare to the south, but for the most part, a lot of it's just a lighter intensity type of residential use. If this was on a hard corner or something where you had major streets and so forth, I think staff's recommendation would have been a little bit different, but it does sit mid-block and it is kind of surrounded by a bunch of homes, and we were really trying to encourage more of the activity of that nature going more towards the intersection where you see the activity node. So staff felt that it was not consistent with the adopted land use plan. This is the subject property that is up for consideration. So pretty much an existing single-family home, as you can see here. The daycare is also a converted single-family home that sits just to the left of it that you can see here. This is the north view of MacArthur Road with the subject site immediately on the left-hand side. You can see the zoning sign per state statute requirements for public notification. Where you see the car parked across the street, the county vehicle that's sitting there, that's the mobile home park that sits just across the street. Here's the view of the mobile home park just across the street. So you can see pretty much what would be sitting right out the front door of the property. This is the south view with the site immediately on the right-hand side on MacArthur Road. Again, staff had recommended denial of the request. When we took this to the planning board at the meeting, they also supported staff's recommendation by a 10-0 vote for a denial recommendation. So if you have any questions, I'll try to answer what I can.
Anybody have any questions? Commissioner Keefe.
Yeah, I just have a comment. And I heard the speakers earlier, and I don't think anybody's going to question the intent of the owner. But when we make a decision here, it goes with the property. And once we deem it O&I, if that resident were to leave, that owner were to leave, any other O&I could go into that property and disrupt the neighborhood. That's my concern about it. It has nothing to do with the current, what's being going on. But if we were to allow O&I just to go in the middle of a neighborhood, it might be a little, that was the thinking, right?
Yes, sir.
It could be a slippery slope.
It could set a precedent.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I just want to make sure I was reading that right. Thank you.
Yep, yes, sir.
Are there any other questions of Rawls at this point? If not, I'll open the public hearing. Are there any speakers?
There are 5 speakers.
All right, if you call the first speaker.
Annie Hassan.
We got 10 minutes, or 10 minutes, or how does that work?
3 minutes each. That's 15.
I don't care. Your call, Mr. Chair.
It's pretty small. That is.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Dr. Annie Hassan. I reside at 1340 MacArthur Road, Fayetteville, North Carolina. The property have in question, I own the whole block. The daycare center, the house right beside it, and I get tired of using my daycare center as a training facility. So the house right beside, that's why I was going to use it for training. I stand before you today with a sense of gratitude and appreciation for the opportunity to address the esteemed board once again. Once I came to the board to get it zoned a condition special use permit, I had to come through the county commissioner for rezoning at 1425 MacArthur Road. And the building in question is right beside at 1429 MacArthur Road. With the rezoning, I envision a dedicated space where individuals can access training session, workshops, support groups that aim at enhancing coping strategies, fostering effective communication, reducing stigma, and promote self-care practice. It also creates a safe haven where individuals can find solid support and strength on their journey towards wellness. I'm a mental health provider. As a dedicated advocate for mental health and recognized leaders in the field, I am deeply committed to providing peer support and mental health training to individuals in our community who are in need. My experience as a course developer for the state of North Carolina, where I author the curriculum for peer support specialists, which I have trained for the last 14 years, has equipped me to the knowledge and expertise needed to provide high-quality, evidence-based training program. I want to assure you that I am fully committed to upholding all regulations if I get a special use permit, if it was zone O&I. Just as I have done in the past, I understand the importance of adhering to the stipulation outlined in the special use as it was with my daycare center, and I'm prepared to demonstrate the same diligence and compliance in this new endeavor at 1429 MacArthur Road. With your support and guidance, I am confident that we can navigate this process smoothly and in fact ensuring that the rezone of my property align with the best interests of the community. Together we can create a brighter future for Cumberland County where vital resources and support services are readily accessible to all who need them. Thank you once again for your time, your attention, and consideration. I look forward to the opportunity to continue serving our community and making a positive impact in the lives of those we are privileged to serve. Thank you.
Our next speaker.
John Russell.
Hello, County Commissioners. Thank you for having me. I want to first start.
State your name and address.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is John Russell, and my address is 5546 Hope Mills, North Carolina. I want to say again, thank you for having me. I want to start off real fast by giving an understanding about my journey started across the street. Across the hall in the Register of Deeds. My brother and sister passed away from fentanyl poisoning in 2019, 2021. I think I ran around for about 2 years trying to figure out what was the answer or what was the solution. A lot of people patted me on the back and they was telling me, hey, you're a really strong advocate for what you're doing. As we started to go on our journey, me and my mother, we wind up finding out that advocacy is one thing, but in order to create a job for yourself, you had to become a specialist. So I wind up meeting Dr. Annie Hassan. She took me under her wing and she toned me down and showed me the direction I had to go to become a peer support specialist. So that's the opening. My letter is based on this. A request for special use permit for peer support specialist training facility at 1429 MacArthur Road, Fayetteville, North Carolina. Dear members of the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners, I hope this letter finds you well. My name is John Russell, and I am writing to you today as a peer support specialist, trained under the guidance of Dr. Annie Hassan. I come before you with a heartfelt request that I believe holds the potential to greatly benefit our community. I am advocating for the rezoning of 1429 MacArthur Road to obtain a special use permit for conducting peer support specialist training at this location. Currently, the nearest facility for such training is in Lumberton, a journey that takes 30 to 45 minutes from Fayetteville. This distance poses as a significant burden, not only for myself, but for many others in our community who aspire to become peer support specialists. As someone who has undergone undergone this training myself, I understand firsthand the dedication and passion required to embark on this journey. It is a path that holds immense promise for individuals seeking to support and uplift those in need within our community. However, the logistical challenges posed by the distant training location can deter many prospective specialists from pursuing this noble calling. By rezoning 1429 MacArthur Road for special use, we have the opportunity to alleviate this burden and make this invaluable training more accessible to individuals in Cumberland County and its surrounding areas. Not only will this benefit aspiring specialists by reducing travel time and expenses.
I'll let you finish that sentence.
Okay, yes, sir. But it is also foster a stronger sense of community engagement and support within our region.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Shannon Drummond.
Good evening, members of the board.
Good evening.
Appreciate your time today.
Push it up so you don't have to bend down. Okay. There
Thank
you go.
Good evening, members of the board. Appreciate your time today. I'm one of those recipients of the training.
Tell me
of
your
Dr.
name and your address.
Sorry. My name is Shannon Drummond. My address is 502 Mill Cove Court. I'm one of the recipients of Dr. Annie Hassan's training. I wish I should have came up here first because I don't have all those details and those stats, but I can tell you boots on the ground, somebody that has been in a recovery from drugs and alcohol for 13 years. I'm also a military veteran. My father got stationed here in 1992. I have 3 children that live here as well. So I'm fully invested, boots on the ground in the community. And with the heart to help, I didn't know where to turn to. It was really hard for me to find training to be a peer support specialist. I tapped in with my mentor, also, you guys may know him, Pastor Christopher Davis, Commissioner for PwC. And he helped me along the way get with Dr. Annie Hassan for the training so I can actually do something in the community. Like John, I have a personal a personal passion for the community. I want to be a help where I was a hurt at time in my teens, long time ago. And again, like I said, I have children that live here, so I'm fully invested in the community. And so I want to advocate here for Dr. Annie Hassan to have a facility here because it was really difficult to try to find, how to get to Lumberton, take time off work, all those things. So I believe if it was here, it would be better for a lot of other people who now that I have a job in peer support, a lot of people don't even know what peer support is. And so if we had that facility here, right here in Fayetteville, the same way I got help, well, then I can go pass it on and help a lot of other people. So I thank you for your time and your consideration. You guys have a good evening.
Thank you.
Sabrina Gunn.
Hello, fellow board members. I hope your evening's going well. Thank you so much for this moment in time to go ahead and address you. My name is Serena Gunn, so just for a correction in the agenda and record, my name is Serena Gunn, and I live in Eastover. I want to go ahead and just notate what a peer support specialist is. A peer support specialist is a person with lived experience with addiction and recovering from addiction. They're a person that had mental health challenges and has learned how to not only be a person that strives a better life through their mental health challenges, but we're able to give back to society and be part of society and be members that are in our economy and well in our economy and give back to our economy. So peer support specialists is needed. We need people with lived experience. We need people with lived experience in your seats with mental health challenges and recovering from addiction. And so I really want to pose the members to know the importance on how this can change lives. According to the North Carolina Health Department stats of your own that I found online, in 2019, we spent $2.4 billion to substance misuse, and mental health challenges. So I'm stating the importance that we need to figure out a way to help those recover from those challenges and live. I am a person 8 years in recovery and the founder of a nonprofit. So my mission is that lived experience. Without the training that Dr. Hassan is providing, you will not have members like me standing before you and saying that not only did we recover, but we are helping the community recover. You need us, and you need this facility to be able to train those to be that hope and inspiration. So I really do hope you consider this. I understand the concern and what you're saying, but I also know that we are losing people every day. Our community members, your community members. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers?
Richard Chandler.
Good evening, board members. My name is Richard Chandler, and I hope you all having a good evening. My address is 906 Pride Road Court, Fayetteville, North Carolina. I'll give you a little brief about me. Did EMS for 29 years, 15 at Fort Bragg and 14 in Massachusetts, doing 911 calls as well. And I taught with the American Heart Association for 25 years, or 35 years actually. I'm here to support Dr. Hassan tonight as far as the peer support specialist. I'm getting ready to take the course in June to be a peer support specialist for seniors. And with my background and everything, I think that the issue with the special permit is necessary, because like John was saying earlier, I met him back in October, and that's how I ended up standing up here in front of you, and I appreciate the opportunity to be up here tonight. But the thing is, moving this to Lumberton or wherever we have a building available would put undue, wear and tear on people getting down there, people that work jobs. I work, at my age of 72, I work a lot of hours back and forth doing a lot of stuff, and for this peer support, going through the training, also working with the opioid overdose problems that we're having here with the Fayetteville Police Department stuff. So by keeping it here in Fayetteville on 1429 MacArthur Road would be a just cause, because I'm going to tell you right now, Dr. Hassan, you're not going to find a better person or a nicer person or a more intact person as far as doing this peer support specialist training. She is on spot. She does a wonderful job here in Fayetteville and puts a lot of good people out there to do the peer support specialist training, or actually peer support specialists, as far as people with opioid overdose crisis, alcohol addiction, taking care of grandchildren that have been lost because the parents have been lost because the grandparents are not taking care of them, and that's what I'll be doing a lot of that with. So I thank you for your time, and y'all have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers?
There are no more speakers.
I will close the public hearing. I will tell you that I don't think anybody on this board would be opposed to peer specialists. They're needed. They're not only needed in this community, but in every community. But you have to weigh that as well as to the neighbors and all of that. And I will tell you what gave me some real concern. I might have been leaning that way. Commissioner Keefe asked the question, because if you do sell this, it becomes something else. And then, Ms. Hassan, you said, I've been training in the daycare. So you tell me on one hand, I'm going to follow the rules, but training in that daycare is not following the rules. That's the daycare. And that gives me some concern. And if you ever sell it, what the next people can do with this particular property. So, anybody have any questions? I'm going to do questions.
I got a comment on.
Wait a minute. Sorry. I got a bunch of stuff. I think Commissioner Jones, you got a question? We're not going to take a motion just yet. We're just talking about discussions and
I
motions.
had a question, like he was stating about the daycare. Were you doing this after hours? I don't know what the rules are, if you can or can't do that. And then you were stating a couple of places.
Wait a minute. Let's do that question first.
Okay, and then I want to.
I'll let you come up here because it was a special use permit for a daycare, and you said you were doing training there. I mean, that was, and then I'll come back to you, Ms. Jones, on your next question.
That's what I needed.
If you would answer that question.
I was not doing peer support, especially in the daycare. I'm talking about training for my staff in the daycare.
What kind of training?
What kind of training?
Yeah.
For my staff as it relates to daycare training,
Oh,
not peer
okay.
support.
All right.
That's a difference.
Okay, well, you didn't make that clear. That's,
Oh, okay.
look.
No.
Ms. Jones, Commissioner Jones.
Okay, thank you. That's what I wanted clarification. And then you were stating that you own, can you go over that for me again? You were saying that you already own, what is it, about 2 or 3 properties?
Yes,
And so it's,
yeah, all 3 of them.
okay, and so all of those are yours that you own, and so that's why you want to use one of the properties you already
Yes.
own for that?
That's correct.
And so are they empty now? Are they being, what
No,
are they
ma'am.
being used for now? Is I guess my question is.
They are occupied. The first one, my son stay in it.
Okay.
The second one is my daycare, and the third one is that's what I'm trying to get rezoned,
Okay,
1429.
all righty.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Keefe, then I come to
Yeah,
Commissioner
thank
Fairclough.
you. So, question for Mr. Howard, but, you know, I think the difficult part here is we have, as commissioners, we have to separate the property from the passion or the purpose. Because, to the point, O&I can be a number of different things. And if Ms. Hassan, I hope it's a long time, Ms. Hassan, before you decide to not do this anymore, or you're not available to do this. Once we turn that into O&I, somebody could put it into a bank, right?
Could be.
Some doctor's office,
Yeah.
or,
Yes,
and
sir.
we're doing that in the middle of a neighborhood. So the question would be, is the special use permit only available for daycares?
It's one of the limited things that you can do by special use permit in any of our residential zones, and I mean very limited. So you're talking about maybe, I can count on maybe one hand.
And so the point is, if Mrs. Hassan ceased that to be a daycare, it would revert back to residential.
I think it runs with the land.
If the use stops after 1 year, then.
Yeah.
For the year.
Yeah, so there's like a lag time, right? It
Right.
kind of reverts back.
Yes. Or the permit's rescinded, I should say. The zoning is already there. It's just that the permit for that particular use would be rescinded. You
But
wouldn't
the
be able to do
zoning, the
that.
zoning is
R6.
R6.
Mhm,
Okay,
correct.
So which wouldn't allow for a daycare on its own.
No, you'd have to get that special
You'd have to
permit through the BOA.
So if we're, again, my difficulty is, I believe in what you do. If you've ever heard me talk about the opioid crisis and treatment, you'll know that I am passionate about this too. But we're talking about the property and not the profession. So is there any path for this in special use? It doesn't sound like there is.
No, sir.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Commissioner Fairclough.
I was doing okay till I heard what you just said. You said this can't be a special use? Is that what you just said, or did I misunderstand?
No, you can't be.
Can't. Cannot.
Just, no.
No.
Why?
So in our ordinance, we have a list of uses that are allowed per the zoning district, right? And then in that matrix, we'll have uses that are permitted by right. They're either permitted through a special use permit process. So in a residential area, I'm trying to separate the daycare from this as like an office use. The specific office use itself is not allowed by special use permits in a residential area. The idea being is that things like daycares and these smaller types of residentially conducive type of operations where people can walk to daycares and these smaller type operations is that you allow them, but you want an additional discretion to have to go through a permit process for that additional level of scrutiny. An office, for example, is just what it sounds like. It's an office, so you'd have to be zoned for a commercial designation unless the board, through its decision, would like to start allowing, offices by special use permit in our residential areas.
I think you tell me I have to go through a whole hearing and all of that. Yeah.
Right, so that would be a text amendment to our ordinance that have to go to the planning board for their recommendation, and then ultimately, like your decision, if you want to allow office uses in our housing areas.
How does special use differ from conditional use?
Special use, okay, that's a good question. So the special use permit is what's called a quasi-judicial procedure. So there have to be findings of fact. It's evidentiary, so it's not like a legislative hearing where you have a lot more leeway with how you can take in the information and then process a decision. When it goes to the Board of Adjustment, they have to present evidence. They have to have expert witnesses. It's sort of like somewhat of a legal type of a process where they have to go through specific findings, and in order to grant that permit, they have to go through a findings of fact to make sure that every single one of the findings are met prior to them granting that permit out. Does that, hope I'm clear on that?
No, I still didn't hear the difference between that and conditional use.
So a conditional is like a zoning process is a legislative process, which is what we're doing right here before this board. The special use permit is a quasi-judicial, which has a whole lot of different type of processes they have to
And it
follow.
goes to the Board of Equalization.
Board of Adjustment.
The Board of Adjustment, I'm sorry,
Correct, yes,
Board of
sir.
Adjustment.
Mhm.
So we can do a conditional use if we want to.
It doesn't meet the ordinance.
We still can't do it. We still don't meet.
It doesn't meet the ordinance
So-
of what we
so-
laid out.
So our only choice, if we want to help this situation out, is to rezone the property.
That's correct, yes, sir, by our ordinance.
Okay. Put the, if I can, Mr. Chairman, I just want to
Go
follow
right
this
ahead.
line of reading. Put the picture of the road facing south again, please.
So the property in question that you're looking at here, Commissioner, is on the right-hand side. This is looking back towards the intersection.
Okay, and on this side of the street is.
That would be the manufactured home park. That would be
Mobile home
across the
park.
street from it.
Where is Pete and Seafood in relation to that property right there? Is it on beyond it, or?
So, okay, so I can go back to the map if I may.
Show me on the map.
So the area that is sitting abutting this, I believe, is that it right there, David, that has the, like, utility use that's on it?
Well, just show me Andrews Road.
That's the Carolina Telephone property, and literally, that's like a little building.
No, he's
that's-
saying where Andrews Road is,
Show me.
trying to figure out where Pedens is, which
Oh.
is.
Yeah, show me, okay, let's see, Andrews Road.
Let me see if I can go back here, see if I can. So here's MacArthur, here's
Yeah.
Charles, Church.
And you see 295 is over there.
Here's 290, yeah, here's 295 that's coming back around here. This is the off-ramp that goes back into the area. Let me see if I can get a better map. You said you're looking for,
Pedens is behind it. If you go back up, Pedens is actually,
Well, show me
the other way.
Show me Honeycutt Road, show me a road. I can't read it from here.
Oh, I'm
Honeycutt
sorry.
Road, Andrews Road, either one of those. If you show me one of them, then I know, I can orient myself.
it's,
I'm gonna find it here in just a second. Just give me a couple seconds.
you won't find it on,
Let me see if I had it on the map, if it's listed, because,
no, because it's down on the other end. It's when
I got
It's
you.
going the other way.
Yes, it's
Okay.
going, yeah.
Yes, it's going the other way. I was trying to find the map that had the most road names on it, so try to help you out.
I was just trying to figure out if that's going to end up being commercial at some point anyway.
That's,
It's a residential
I
area.
don't think so. Commissioner Stewart.
Ms. Hassan, you weren't doing training at the Child Care Center. Why is it not possible for you to do training where you were doing training, where you're currently doing training at?
Okay.
Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know where you were doing training at. Okay, I did not know that. Okay. This is, you guys remember me talking about the community paramedics. This is absolutely ideal for community paramedics. I wish that I had a building to give you all to keep doing this, and I'm going to work really hard to make sure that we have something here locally as much as I can. But right now, I would have to make a motion to deny it. If I can make a motion.
We got Commissioner Jones, and I'll come back to you for your
Okay.
motion. We're on discussion.
My question was, and just a thought here, I used to work in residential group homes, and of course, they're all in different neighborhoods. So I guess my question is with that, maybe that's some other kind of special permit, because we would do trainings there for our staff, and people would live there. And then there's also residential group homes that do training that people don't stay there all the time. But for instance, it's like she does peer support, but if they have maybe that's how they were getting around it, I don't know, they would have a respite bed. So I say that to say that she does peer support. And again, just throwing this out there, if her particular facility had where she did emergency 2 beds, respite care, I'm just, just saying, I know some places that are like that in different places in Rayford and different things. Would that then qualify? In other words, if she had 2 respite beds, she does do mental health work, she does do that, would that change the whole synopsis because somebody's actually living there or for emergency cases? I guess I'm trying to say, Is that how people are getting around this, or is that some different permit for people that do respite care and trainings in their home and that do group homes? I guess that's the question.
Group homes are a whole different,
Correct.
They're a whole different
I mean, I know it's a
animal.
different thing, but then there's some group homes that do trainings, they're not open 24 hours, and they are in a neighborhood. They're a mental health service. So I guess that's my question, is that some type of, in other words, if she were, because of course she obviously has the credentials, if she were to decide or talk to her team and brought this back, if that particular facility had a respite bed, 2 respite beds, I'm just throwing that out there, because obviously she qualifies for that, would that be a whole different thing, since people would be living there, but then trainings would also go on, since that also goes with substance abuse, and it also goes with mental health, being that we do need also emergency beds? I'm just throwing that out there as a question. Does that change the type of permit that she would need in the event if she chose to go that route?
I will ask, come to the mic, though. Assistant Manager Skeens, she does all of that part.
Thank
In terms of, yes, ma'am.
So in other words, if she does do trainings, but say in the event of her and her team, they decided that, because we know, of course, we need respite beds for care of people that have substance abuse or that need mental illnesses, and if she has the qualifications, in the event if she decided to say, I want to do trainings here, but I also want to have at least 3 emergency beds for people in need, how would that change the dynamics of what type of permit she would need? Just, like I said, that's just a question, since I know we do need, services of both. Just throwing it out there. Would that be a different type of permit she would need? If she came in here and said, I have room in here
That'll answer the
for
question.
6 beds and services, would that be a whole different ballgame?
So I'm not sure that I can address the permit question. I believe that would have to go back through zoning and planning. I do believe that I might have a solution, but I would need to talk to Dr. Hussain about that.
Okay.
So I would like to have a conversation with her about that in relation to her training, and maybe we can work on a solution depending on what the commissioners and the vote is for this evening.
Well,
We'd like to know.
So solution is to, I'll take a motion, unless she wants us to do it tonight, and I don't think she does, because I'm not hearing good things, but anyway, is I'll take a motion to defer this to our next month's meeting, and you can have that conversation, and make sure that Rawls is in that conversation, if you're willing to have that conversation. That's up to you, Mr. Son. I'm not trying to put you off for the night, but I think people are trying to work through this because it is good for the community, but we also have to take care of all of these neighbors. And not only that, there are a whole lot of people who put in to work on this plan, this use plan for that community, and just to then turn around and do it in the face of, and we'd have to violate that part of what they do. So if you're willing to do that, I'll take a motion to defer this to next month's mid-month meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor? All right. We live for another day. You live for another day.
Thank you for
So
what
you don't
you do.
die
Thank
today. Okay. That'll take us to case number 2411. Y'all can stay if you want to, or you can go. It really doesn't matter. All right, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Let me pull this up real quick. Case ZON 240011 is located in the, pretty much the Grays Creek area of the county. Is this not pulling up?
You done tore it up or what? What you do, Rob?
I'm not holding my mouth.
Tore the whole thing up. It's 8 o'clock. You get me,
We
made me
ain't
happy.
finished the budget yet,
You'll
have
be
we?
happy like with the
We ain't
city.
finished
At 10 o'clock at night.
Man, we're glad-
No money.
No more. I think we all have our computers. You can go ahead on, Roz, and talk, and move on.
I'm sure.
While he's doing that, we've got our computers.
Yes.
And we've got it on here, that y'all sent to us in advance. So I know everybody looked at it and saw it already.
All right, so the first I'm going to talk as if you guys are actually looking at the slide, if that's okay.
Go ahead, we got it right here.
Okay. So the first case, ZON 240011, this case is located in the Grays Creek area of the county. You can't see the star, but I guess you can trust me on that one. So the applicant and the owner is Corey Ham and Ruth Ham. The request is to go from A1 agricultural to R15. The intent is to...
Rawls, just for you know, we do have it, what you're talking about, you can just go
You have
from
the
it. 'cause
staff
we have
report?
it, yeah.
Oh, here we go.
We do have all of that. It comes
I
with
can do one better than that, Commissioner. I think I got you.
Okay. But we do have all of that. We get it in advance.
Yes, okay, we good. So the request is to go from A1 to R15. The intent is just to increase the permitted density for this piece of property. So just a little under 3 acres. You can see it's on Cypress Lakes Road here in the crosshatch. Yeah, so anyway, so you can see where it is up there just for 2.96 acres. So again, the subject property is largely surrounded by some single-family homes. For the most part, you can see here, it's a built-up area. This is the property that you can see where it says 1370 and 1376 is this elongated portion that is here. Is the one next to it? I'm sorry, this is the one next to it, this one, right there, the one with the house on it. Yeah, you're right. So as you can see by the zoning map, there's a hodgepodge of residential zoning out here. You have R10, which is sitting here just to the east of the property, A1 to the west and to the north. But you can see it's, staff believes fully that this is just a transitioning area that you can see is going from agriculture more to single-family homes. There is a water and sewer line that is out in this part of the property. There are no hydric or hydric inclusion soils that are here. When staff looked at this against the South Central Land Use Plan, which governs this area, it's designated as low-density residential. So the acceptable zoning districts for here would be 7.5 and R15. So given that and based off the application, staff felt that it was plan compliant. You can see some of the goals that we try to work towards with this plan that would be applicable to this site. So this is the subject property that you see in question. Single-family home on the property. This is the west view with this site immediately on the left-hand side with the sign for the required public notification out in the yard. This is looking right across the street, largely wooded. And then this is the east view again with the subject property immediately on the right-hand side. So staff had recommended approval of the request. When we went to the planning board about this, the planning board had some concerns about the density of R15 for that area. And so when the applicant came up and spoke, the applicant had indicated that the intent was to basically subdivide or give some property off to a couple of the family members. I believe it was some children. And so we had heard this case for this property probably about 1.5 years ago where somebody wanted to propose some townhomes and things like that on here, and that was largely turned down. And so when it came back, of course, those same concerns were there at the planning board. So I think given the applicant's testimony that we were able to work out a compromise of what would be acceptable. So the planning board at that time out of that meeting had recommended R30, which by the indication of the applicant would have got him what he needed. It satisfied some of the density concerns from the planning board. And I can tell you staff wouldn't have a problem with that. We think that R30 would be just as plan compliant as an R15 designation. So I think everybody walked out of that with, everybody was fine with it. So, so your motions in your packet should indicate an alternative recommendation to R30 if the board decides to go in that direction. So I'll try to answer any questions if you have any.
All right. Anybody have any questions? If not, I'll open the public hearing. Are there any speakers?
We have one speaker,
All right.
Corey Ham.
Evening. My name's Corey Ham.
Good evening.
I live at 1384 Cypress Lake Slope Road. And just like he said, I'm good with R30. I want to divide it up 3 ways. Acre in the front, acre for the house that's already existing, and the rest of the land, 0.97 in the back. So just trying to generate some generational wealth, you know what I mean? So my sons don't have to work as hard as I did. I did 24 years in the military, and I just want to leave my family something, so pretty much.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers?
There are no other speakers.
If there's no other speakers, I'll close the public hearing, and I'll entertain a motion, which would be the big motion next to the bottom. Commissioner Stewart.
In zoning case 240011, I move to deny the rezoning request for A1 Agricultural District to R15 Residential District and to approve an alternative rezoning from A1 Agricultural District to R30 Residential District, and find that the request is consistent with the South Central Land Use Plan, which calls for low-density residential at this location. The request is reasonable and in the public's interest, as the request district would be compatible to and in harmony with the surrounding land use activities and zoning.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
All right. That would take us to case 240012.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Moving on. This is case ZON 240012. Yeah, there we go. This case is also located in roughly the same area that you were before, down in the Grays Creek area. The request is to go from A1 to R15 residential. The applicant owner is Jeff Riddle is the agent, with Tawanda Ray as the property owner. The intent is to increase the permitted density for future housing subdivision out in this area. You can see this is Sand Hill Road that is here. This is Cypress Lakes Road to the south, but you can see that largely this property would be accessed off of Dulles Road coming here, the existing subdivision. Those are state-maintained roads, so they're DOT-maintained roads. So the access would be to continue pretty much the development into this parcel that's highlighted in the red crosshatch. Now, as far as the subdivision is concerned, this property is platted with along this Leander Lane, which is a Class C dirt road private street, so there's some limitations on how many lots you can have off of that kind of road, but since it's off of Dulles, it counts as road frontage, at least from staff's perspective, as being off of the state-maintained road from Dulles that sits to its eastern boundary. So again, the property is just a little under 4 acres. It's 3.89 acres. You can see largely, again, it's a transitioning area out here going from ag to largely single-family residential homes. You can see pretty much what's around is wooded and just some subdivisions. A little bit more of a zoom in of the property. This is Dulles Road here. This is the terminus of Dulles Road here. So this is some clear sort of aerial imagery that we're trying to include in our presentations, but you can see it's a largely wooded track here. It does take some access off of this road here, but again, staff has anticipated it will be accessed off of Dulles here, which will go back in here and just
How
extend
many
the
homes could be
subdivision.
built in there with this R12?
We're looking at probably upwards to 11. That lot itself was platted as a zero lot line subdivision for the Leander Lane, so staff has to run the calculation as to where they pulled density from in the plat. So all that will be coming out a little bit later, but by our estimation, I can tell you it's up to probably 11 homes at this point.
Just coming in off Dulles Road, is there another exit, just one?
We'd have to work that out of what can be suitable off of Leander. We're not anticipating a whole lot, so we're anticipating it would come off of Dulles.
You know, I don't like that one way in, one way out. Commissioner Keith.
Yeah, I did my calculations too. I figured a little less than 12. Right now, you can only build 2. The way it's set up right now.
That's correct.
Well, why is this different than the last one? That we didn't like R15 on the last one, and you recommended R30, same area. That's just, to me, if I was in that neighborhood and I knew that 12 extra cars would be coming up there, going through my neighborhood that I'm maintaining, and it's probably a public road, so can't say anything about it, but that's the only access in 12. What's the topography? I mean, the soils. Is it all hydric?
No, there's no hydric soils. There's water and sewer on the property as well.
There is water and sewer.
Yeah, that would be extended into the development.
And why could this possibly be a zero lot line?
This one itself would not be. I'm just saying that so if I can go back here, and you probably have to look at this, but these lots that are sort of off of this road that's Leander, these lots and so forth aren't really included in the plat, but some of these lots have frontage on this road, and since this lot has frontage on that road, you can't have more than 4 lots off of a Class C street. So if you look at what's out there already, it was platted a long time ago when we had much more of an allowance of what can go on a Class C street. So Yeah, so did that answer your question, Commissioner?
Yeah, it just seems like a lot to put in.
Yeah.
I didn't understand why this one. why
It was
didn't-
platted as a part, like, this lot, this lot, this lot, and all these lots that are off of Leander were pretty much platted at the same time on that Class C street.
Okay.
So did y'all talk to them about the R30, or just nobody? I guess y'all approved it, y'all.
We were looking at the approvals that came from the board. We looked at A1 and R20, we got some R40. It's just, we also considered the fact that it had water and sewer that was on the property, so the issue with any septic or wells, we just kind of said, you know, it'll be handled by the utilities. So generally, if there's utilities, staff is going to be a little bit more in favor of higher density because you have the infrastructure to handle it. Maybe outside of the roads, but.
Outside the road,
Right, but.
You know, that's a major concern. I mean, they're going through it up in Kings Grant right now when they do that highway up there, one way in, one way out. I mean, it's just, if I'm at the back and I have a heart attack, I want to be able to get the ambulance back there and with the stop laughing at me. Laugh at me. I'm just telling you, it's just, I have a rough time. All right. Go ahead, I'm finished. You can finish up.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just,
That's me.
so it does have utilities. When we looked at the land use plan for this, it does call for low-density residential, which R75 and R15 would be acceptable per the plan, so we felt it was plan compliant, so there's also that, Commissioner. So this is standing on the subject property. I know it's not, that you're not staring at a whole lot because there's not really a road. It's that, you know, so a lot of these pictures are going to be pretty much off of the Class C street that are on the property. So if it looks like, hey, where's the road? It's, well, the road is Leander Lane. So this is the property that's looking from Dulles, looking back into the property, but that would be the.
Not getting much street.
Yeah, not having.
This is the northeast view.
It's like number 12 on Cypress Lake.
And this is the southeast view on Leander Lane, looking back toward Dulles Road. You see the sign out there along the road for public notification. So staff had recommended approval of the request. We took this to the planning board, and they ultimately approved it by a 10-0 unanimous vote.
All right. Commissioner, oh, you had already done that. I will open the public hearing. Are there any speakers?
There are no speakers.
I will close the public hearing. I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, in case zone 24-0012, I move to approve the rezoning request from A1 Agriculture District to R15 Residential District and find that the request is consistent with the South Central Land Use Plan, which calls for low-density residential at this location. The request is reasonable and in the public interest as is compatible to and in harmony with the surrounding land use activities and zoning.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
No, it wasn't.
Oh,
No, it wasn't. I'm not doing the one way in, one way out. I'm just
Voting
sorry.
in favor, Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Fairclough, Commissioner Stewart, and Commissioner Keith. Voting in opposition, Chairman Adams.
Thank you very much,
They
Commissioners.
got that?
Thank you.
You got to look at your sign placement on that. I couldn't help it. Yeah.
That will take us to the items of business, which is 4A. Mr. Manager.
Yes, a proposed pre-qualification process for all Tier 1 subcontractors for the Cumberland County Crown Event Center. Jermaine Walker, Director of Engineering and Infrastructure, will present this item from the meeting earlier today.
And Commissioners, at your desk, y'all can look at those, is that the project update for the Crown Event Center and the Crown Committee met today. Just tell them what you're doing there. We don't know. Okay, there you go. Nowhere.
That would be a lot to read.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. So in accordance with North Carolina General Statute 143-135.8, Cumberland County established a pre-qualification policy, which would be used for construction and repair projects in which we would have to pre-qualify bidders. The contractor pre-qualification policy establishes a process for evaluating and determining whether potential bidders have the skill, judgment, integrity, sufficient financial resources, and ability necessary to fulfill their contracts with the county for construction or repair. And so In order to move forward with the Crown Event Center project, we're required to pre-qualify subcontractors. And included in this packet would be the pre-qualification policy from the joint venture, the matrix, first-tier pre-qualification forms, and the joint venture's historically underutilized business engagement plan.
So if I can get a motion to, you were the chair of that committee, to,
Make the motion for the pre-qualification process be approved.
it's been moved in second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Mr. Manager.
Yes, Commissioners, at your desk, you should have flyers regarding the
no.
Cumberland County
I thought you were still talking about this one.
daycare. One of the things we wanted to get a quick approval on is that we have, as we plan to have the ribbon cutting soon, but we have signage that we want to have on the building. We wanted you all to see the signage real quickly and give us guidance, real quick guidance on which one you prefer. I'm looking for that's the first one right there. That's,
What is it? Okay.
okay. That's number one. That's option one. Go to the next
We're going to
slide.
take that off over the door, though?
Yes,
All right.
yes. That's option two.
Okay, can you zoom in a little bit? What's up on the county? What does that say?
Employee Child Care Center.
Not that big.
Oh,
There's words up under. Oh, Lord, I shouldn't ask the question.
I think this is North Carolina.
Up underneath county, there's something. Is it North Carolina? Okay. Oh, Lord have mercy, I tell you.
and then number
Okay,
three.
go ahead.
Must be 8:30.
Why do we?
And that's number three.
Because it looks good.
I like three.
I would like to see something on the building at the top, like on the top.
Like where that white part is at?
You want something up top, like
I mean, you may not be able to.
You got to
like
see
to
the
be
other
able
thing.
to,
Go back to one. Well, I
yeah,
didn't
that-
see the difference between, oh, I don't like the white. Go ahead. That one ain't.
you know, like
Go back to two. No, I like the blue.
The blue color reminds me of children.
Yeah.
They like color.
Okay. Y'all like two? That seems to be consistent.
Thank you.
I like the ours is blue.
All right. You just want it on top of the bill.
Yeah, I wanted to look nice.
I'm gonna have you put it up there. That goes, there's no nomination. That takes us to appointments. Vice Chairwoman Stewart.
The Joint Fort Liberty and Cumberland County Food Policy Council, there are 2 vacancies, and I would make a motion that Clifton Johnson be the co-chair, which is a civilian chair from Cumberland County, and Melissa Pennington, who is a member that does not work in local government in health agencies.
Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
The Joint Planning Board has 2 vacancies, and I would like to make a motion to appoint Cassandra Herbert and Charles Jones to the Joint Planning Board.
A second.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
All right. I will recess the Board of Commissioners meeting, and I will convene the Grays Creek Water and Sewer District Governing Board meeting. Grays Creek Water and Sewer District Governing Board and the consent agenda. If I can get a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All those in favor? Wait a minute.
Unanimous.
Is this really a consent agreement? Because you got approval of rate increase. These are separate things. It shouldn't be a consent agenda. So, because we don't know what the rate increases are. So I'm gonna call on the county manager. We're gonna take that back and go to approval of a rate increase. So I think we need to know what those are.
We did the rate increases at the agenda
Agenda
setting.
setting. Oh, this was at the agenda setting?
Yes.
All right, so that motion carries. All right, that was unanimous. So I will adjourn the Grays Creek Water and Sewer, y'all gotta put that up here, governing board meeting, and I will convene the Kelly Hills Water and Sewer District Governing Board meeting. And move to approve the consent agenda for Kelly Hills Water and Sewer District.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
All right, that's unanimous. I will adjourn the Kelly Hills Water and Sewer District Governing Board, and I will convene the North Cross Water and Sewer District Governing Board meeting, and I will ask a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All of those in favor?
Unanimous.
I will adjourn the North Cross Water and Sewer District Governing Board meeting, and I will now reconvene the Board of Commissioners meeting. And I think we have a motion to go into close, you know.
No
you got rid of
closed
that.
session.
Oh, when I told you to get rid of that, huh? You got rid of that. All right, then, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
You only got a motion. You got two motions.
Got half of it.
Did y'all get the microphone or the